probably can't even hear my voice. Hello there, it's Wellness Wednesday. I hope you're well. Part of my screen is frozen, so I hope that I am live. Maybe it's working now. So nice to see you, and I hope your April is treating you well. Soon will be Mother's Day, so that's something to look forward to in Australia. I'm starting to align with Mother's Day in Australia as opposed to Mother's Day in the UK, so that's a good experience. We spent the last weekend of the school holidays sorting out the kids' cupboards because there are massive amounts of mess, and transitioning little ones' clothes into big ones' room because it's a shared room now, 50-50 wardrobe split. So that's interesting to see how they're now negotiating their way around their bedroom, that things are a little bit more even because the big one was being a bit dominant to the little one as to what was her stuff. So we had to do some talking around what's hers versus what's ours versus what's shared. But now the cupboards have been equally split and they have matching clothes buckets on either side, and they can see all their clothes. I was also hoping they'd be a bit more independent in getting dressed, and that's had two joyful moments the last few days where the little one came out wanting to wear gingerbread Christmas jumper to school yesterday, so that's what she did. And today she wanted to wear some woolen knit trousers, which are for very cold days, but I'd put in her wardrobe anyway. So today she's gone to school wearing her Wellington boots and her woolen knit trousers. So she's developing her own style, and it's making me laugh a little bit. But also in Townsville it's fresh in the morning, but by midday you need your summer clothes again, so she has to have a change of outfit halfway through the day. So back to school this week, and it was also time to get my car repaired finally. So I thought I'd survive this week just on bicycles. And that would be a good adventure for the entire week, not just an every now and then thing. But then yesterday it's been bucketing down, and it's been bucketing down parts of today. So with flooding around and lots of wet weather and wind, I thought, oh crap, okay, maybe not such a great week to cycle. We did cycle yesterday morning, got soaking wet, got changed at school, everyone was fine. And then I cycled to pick them up, and then I realized that my sister's away for a few days, so I kind of picked up the phone and went, there's your car sitting around not doing anything. So I borrowed her car for a few days, which is helpful when it's raining lots and lots, and hopefully my car will be repaired by next Tuesday. So and then hopefully will be many more years before it has to go to the crash repair shop again, because I don't want any more crashes, thank you very much. Let's see, so today I just thought I'd give you some insight into how I learn. I'm a bit of a dork, or a geek as it were, when it comes to learning stuff. I like to learn stuff from all different sources, so I pick and choose content from lots of different places. I read a lot, I watch a lot of documentaries on different channels, I watch a lot of YouTube videos and TEDx talks on a variety of different topics. So I like to inform myself about health and wellness from a whole wide range of sources, and then kind of picking and choosing things that are relevant for my life and that of those that I meet as well. So already I've collated a list of my top favorite documentaries for health and well-being. If you'd like a copy of that, I can share it with you. I'm adding to it all the time. I do need to update it. I don't know if you've seen the latest documentary on Netflix, which is causing a storm around the world at the moment, called Seaspiracy. It's about the damaging effects of the seafood industry, and it makes you think a lot about when you go into the supermarket and the seafood that you see in the shelves and the seafood that you see in the fridges, and then you start to understand where it's come from, how it's got there, and who may have been killed in that process, and that's really upsetting. So it is worthwhile watching that. It's been controversial because it names and shames some charities that are meant to protect certain animals, and of course those charities are now trying to discredit the documentary, which always happens. But ultimately, I was talking to some friends about this on the weekend, it comes down to consumer tipping point. It's we as the consumer that ultimately affect what's stocked on shelves and how things are bought and sold and consumed. So it's only when Consumer Tipping Point decided that they wanted to not die of lung cancer and throat cancer that tobacco sales went down, and they got hidden behind closed doors and all of these other things. But that took many years of of fighting and evidence and research, and it's going to be similar in the future, I think, as consumers start demanding more transparency around food and services and so on and so forth. But it takes time, and that's frustrating. So I have become a geek around how I learn stuff, and that's really cool. But also sometimes I have to watch normal things on TV just so I have something popular culture to talk about. So I'm finding myself thinking, okay, I need to watch some random entertainment show on Netflix, as opposed to just watching stuff about world events, etc. So yeah, if you want a copy of that document, just send me a message and I'll drop it off to you, and you can have all the download links or links to what the program is, where I found it, and what it was ultimately about. So it's quite interesting. So I wanted to, I've been reading this book from Amy Malloy called The World is a Nice Place, and one of the chapters in her books talks about micro-meltdowns. And in essence, now that I reflect, The Power of Now from Eckhart Tolle also mentions it, but in a very different way. He gives an example of when ducks are on the water and the one duck gets pissed off with the other duck for treading on its territory or something, and they flap its wings, and then they have a bit of a kerfuffle, and then they swim off serenely. And Amy talks about micro-meltdowns in a way that's really interesting, because you have your blow up, you have your meltdown, and then afterwards you become more introspective, more creative. You've released all that pent-up emotion and energy, and you're much more focused and clear in your thinking. But ultimately what we mostly do is we suppress our micro-meltdowns. And this morning my 3-year-old had a humongous micro-meltdown, which was very exhausting for me. But she was throwing herself on the floor and banging the floor, and she wanted to watch something on TV. And it was time to get dressed for school, and she couldn't understand why she couldn't watch her program. So she had a micro-meltdown, and she was unable to breathe, hyperventilating with the stress of it all. But after she'd had the micro-meltdown and she chose her clothes to wear, and she looked cute, we put her gumboots on and got her in the car, she was very loving and kind and caring and smiling and all of these things. And I just thought, it's so interesting, isn't it? Because we talk about micro-meltdowns in so many different ways. So, Eckhart Tolle mentions it. Amy Malloy mentions it. I think I've mentioned it before, but a micro-meltdown is actually quite cathartic. Should be encouraged and valued a lot more for what happens in the after effect of it. The after effect of it, that when we're free of all of that stress and pent-up emotion, we become much more highly functioning in a different way. So I am all for a micro-meltdown. If you feel like having one today, go for it, and then you'll feel better. I know that for sure. So that's my top tip. So if you haven't watched Seaspiracy on Netflix, please do so. And the documentary sheet that I've talked to you about, if you'd like to have a look at that, send me a message. I am adding to it all the time. It's very useful, because when you look at information from all different sources, you can pick and choose the stuff that you want to implement, but it does open you up to a level of awareness on a whole array of different insights from different things. So that's really important as well. So very excitingly today, it was on Monday, I posted to Brisbane the Queensland Literary Awards. I've entered both my books, The Koala Book and Broken to Unbreakable, into the Queensland Literary Awards, which will be judged in September. So that's very exciting. I had to post 5 copies of each book off to Queensland State Library, and let's see what happens. But you've got to be in it to win it, haven't you? So that's really nice, and I look forward to whoever wins watching. Thanks very much for watching. Have a great week, and I will see you again real soon. Bye.